Live, NBC10 News at 11.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tim Lake.
And I'm Renee Chenault-Fattah. Our top story tonight, nasty weather over the next 36 hours. Everything from heavy rain and flooding to the chance of even snow for some parts of the area.
All right, let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Glenn Schwartz in the NBC10 HD Weather Center tonight. Glenn?
All right, thanks, Tim and Renee. We already had some rain during the day today. We're in amber mode, as you can see behind me, because of the flood watch that is in effect for the entire area. You can see that in green. The flood watch for Thursday into Friday morning. Also, a winter storm warning in effect for the Poconos and all counties farther north toward New York State, as a combination of ice and snow are going to cause some major problems there. You can see the rain band from New Jersey down through Washington and farther to the south, and that band extends all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, where the bulk of the rain is, and that's what's coming up this way. You can also see the snow in the white in northwestern Pennsylvania, so it's not that far away. There's the front that came by. That's going to stall. And then that low-pressure center rides right up the front and dumps the rain on us. I'll have more about how much rain to expect and where to expect the snow with the 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
And now a developing story tonight. 3 suspects are behind bars in a pair of recent armed robberies of Rowan University students in South Jersey. NBC10's Mike Strug is live on the Rowan campus now in Glassboro with more details. Mike?
Well, Tim, those arrests, the arrests of 3 suspects, took place early this afternoon down in Salem County. No word yet on details of how police here in Gloucester County, in Glassboro and on Rowan's campus, were able to connect those 3 suspects to those 2 events, those 2 incidents that took place here on the campus back on November 11th. You may recall that the first of the incidents took place when 3 students were robbed on campus at gunpoint, and just a few moments later, off campus, another student was robbed and pistol whipped. He was near his off-campus apartment. Again, no details on how these arrests came to be and how these students, or how these are non-students, how these non-students were connected with what happened up here. You may remember that a Rowan student was also murdered off campus. That was back in October of 2007. There had been no arrests, no suspects in the murder of sophomore Donald Farrell. Again, no details on how these arrests took place and the incidents that took place on November 11th, but university officials are expected to hold a news conference tomorrow morning to provide those details. Live in Glassboro, I'm Mike Strug, NBC 10 News.
New at 11 tonight, an arsonist strikes at a South Jersey church, and the pastor says his recent run-in with the law has nothing to do with this attack. NBC 10's Byron Scott is live in Trenton with the latest. Byron?
Well, the pastor says he was home last night and got a phone call at around 11 o'clock saying his church was on fire. Bishop Charles Brinson is determined to rise from the ashes, literally. Last night at around 11 o'clock, his church, Brinson Memorial in Trenton, was set on fire.
Poured gasoline down the stairs.
The fire marshal says it was arson.
Tried to start it in 3 places in the kitchen.
Investigators say all of the doors were locked when they arrived. They are looking into whether it was an inside job.
Why would someone do that? I have no idea. But the building stands strong, said I'm not going down.
Bishop Brinson was in the news 2 months ago when he was arrested in Trenton for alleged criminal solicitation and unlawful contact with a 15-year-old boy in Philadelphia.
What happened there? It was dismissed.
True, but according to special victims and his attorney, the charges were refiled. And according to his attorney, Brinson worked out a deal with prosecutors and will plead guilty to corrupting the morals of a child, which is a misdemeanor.
No bearing.
Whatever happened, Bishop Brinson and his attorney say there is no connection whatsoever between his legal problems and the arson. Right now, he's busy trying to figure out where they're going to worship come Sunday.
We are rebuilding what the devil has tried to
Now, Brinson says that the damage was in the tens of thousands of dollars. As to when they'll be able to move back in, it's anyone's guess. He says they have no insurance. Live in Trenton, Byron Scott, NBC 10 News.
All right, thank you, Byron. Well, a Philadelphia man is arrested for identity and auto title theft to the tune of $100,000. Now, officials say Mark Green would buy cars with false ID. He'd make a couple of payments on his car loan and then forge proof that the loan had been satisfied. Officials say Green then turned around and sold the cars. Green faces a variety of charges, including forgery and identity theft.
Police in Bucks County tonight want to find the driver of a hit-and-run vehicle that killed an 86-year-old woman. Cecilia Proff was struck and killed while taking her daily walk in Bristol Borough last night. She had just crossed the street to visit her sister when she was hit. Police say the driver got out of the car for a short time, then got back in and drove away. Proff's children say they're glad she didn't suffer, but they do want the driver to turn himself in.
My sisters and I would really want to know why he left. You know, maybe something had happened to him recently. Maybe he was just scared, frightened.
Now, investigators say the vehicle involved is a small, dark-colored SUV. Renee?
Tonight, Philadelphia Mayor Michael Nutter is once again challenged about his plan to cut city services to solve the growing budget crisis. But turns out that the resident solutions aren't as easy as they seem. NBC 10's Kristen Welker is live at City Hall with the latest. Kristen?
Renee, Mayor Michael Nutter has been holding a series of town hall meetings to address people's concerns over his proposed cuts. So at tonight's meeting at Ben Franklin High School in North Philadelphia, we asked people what they would do differently to address what is a budget crisis.
I understand everyone's frustration, but you have to feel the frustration of the communities.
Single mom Danita Bates was one of the first to express her concerns about cuts at Wednesday's town hall meeting at Ben Franklin High School. She says she understands the mayor is dealing with a budget deficit of at least $1 billion over the next 5 years, but she doesn't think libraries and pools should be closed. So what would she do? What should be sacrificed?
The casinos that everybody's hyped about having. The casinos is not going to benefit.
The casinos do not have the full go-ahead just yet, but Bates is worried about the construction costs if they get the green light. But according to Finance Director Rob Dubois, any building costs would be offset by what is called a host fee.
Each of the casinos pays a host fee to the city, and eventually they'll be generating in the upper 20 millions a year.
Barbara Bradley of North Philadelphia had another idea.
We can do cuts in salaries. We just have to do it. Cut
whose salaries?
Okay, well, the higher-ups.
Even the mayor admits that's a good plan, but he says he's already done that, and it's not enough.
Pay cuts. Cut my own salary, my chief of staff, every member of the cabinet taking a pay cut.
Ray Clothier of Mayfair is particularly concerned about plans to cut equipment at some fire stations. Have you thought through what the alternative would be?
Well, people will get angry, but arts and culture.
We've heard a series of individual ideas but they don't really, in their totality, don't help clean $1 gap.
And the mayor says that gap could actually be larger. He'll have more information about that after the first of the year. In the meantime, he will hold 2 more town hall meetings this month. Live outside of City Hall, Kristen Welker, NBC 10 News.
All right, Kristen, thank you. Tonight, the House has approved a $14 billion short-term rescue plan for the auto industry, but the emergency bailout now faces strong opposition from Republicans in the Senate. The legislation would provide money within days to cash-starved GM and Chrysler. The measure must still clear the Senate, but that won't be easy. Republicans there want to force the companies into bankruptcy or force big concessions from auto workers and creditors as a condition of any federal aid. President-elect Obama has picked a New Jersey woman to run the Environmental Protection Agency. Lisa Jackson is a former New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection commissioner. Jackson would be the first African-American to lead the EPA.
Well, there are new questions tonight about the South Jersey cat that clawed Santa.
Yes, the owner of the animal has come forward, but tonight her claim has cat lovers all across the country bearing their claws. NBC 10's Denise Nakano is here now with the latest twist in the story that you saw first here on NBC 10. Denise?
Well, Tim and Renee, the big question tonight is whether the cat is a bobcat or something else. The owner says he's a perfectly legal feline.
There's nothing really special about him, just the way he looks.
He's the young cat who attacked old St. Nick at a Mays Landing pet store. But Christine Hoy says Benny is actually a friendly feline who just got scared.
Being at PetSmart with all the other dogs, the cat was nervous and bit Santa.
Hoy says Benny is a pixie bob, a recognized legal breed. But NBC10 has been getting calls and emails from pixie bob breeders around the country who saw the story on our website at NBCPhiladelphia.com. They say Benny is definitely a bobcat.
I will bet my life that that is a bobcat, absolutely.
Look at these pictures. On the left is a bobcat. On the right is a pixie bob. Not much resemblance.
Our cats are not like that at all. They are domestic cats. They have not an ounce of bobcat blood in them. Never have, never will.
He's just a normal cat. He plays.
The president of Northwest Pacific Outlaws writes, as much as all pixie bob breeders would like to have their cats look like that one, I have yet to see one come close. While Mary of Native Dream Pixie Bobs writes, the owner of the bobcat is trying to keep out of trouble by claiming her bobcat is a pixie bob.
I've never heard of a pixie bob flipping out like this cat did.
Well, even the Atlantic County SPCA now says they can't be certain if Benny is a bobcat or a pixie bob. Remember, bobcats are illegal in New Jersey. We'll let you know what happens in this story. Denise Nakano, NBC 10 News.
Hunter.
Well, still ahead tonight, this little boy gets the thrill of his life when someone very special comes home early.
Also ahead tonight, tips on how to survive the holidays and not wind up afterwards with a financial hangover.
And get ready for lots of rain and even some wintry weather in places. But what about your weekend? Stay tuned for the 7-day forecast when NBC 10 News at 11 in HD comes right back.
This surprise homecoming is our video story of the night. Hunter Hartbarger is a second grader in Michigan. His mother, a corpsman in the Navy, surprised him today by coming home from Iraq a day early. Kelly Hartbarger made her return home for the holiday extra memorable.
I said in my dream once, all I want for Christmas is my mom back home.
Yes.
And here I am. Yeah.
I wanted to surprise them when I came home. And it worked.
Hartbarger, by the way, served for 10 months in Kuwait and Iraq. Don't you love those stories?
They're the best. Well, you know, it's easy to get caught up in the holiday spirit of spending, but the problem is once the holidays are over, you're left with a holiday debt hangover. NBC 10 consumer reporter Tracy Davidson is here to help.
Let's face it, a bad economy or not, it's the holiday season, which means your wallets are open and you're spending. The challenge is sometimes we overspend, go way beyond our means, leaving lots of debt behind. The good news is there are many ways to avoid holiday debt. And the first step, think like a recessionista.
A recessionista is someone who likes to look good, they're very fashionable, but they're also budget conscious.
And they only shop where the deals are. Money coach Lynette Calfani says to be a great recessionista, avoid high-end retailers and stick with more affordable stores. A sure way to stretch your dollar further and do less damage to your credit card. Another helpful tip to avoid holiday debt, consider layaway.
So instead of plunking down a credit card and charging something and getting charged interest on top of that, you make payments in intervals.
If you're the shy type and don't want to be caught in a layaway line, no problem. Check out elayaway.com. You'll find online layaway deals from more than 1,000 merchants.
That's a great way to save money too, and time, because you don't have to drive to a store. You can just shop online.
Perhaps the most effective way to avoid holiday debt. Calfani says don't leave the house without two things, a budget and a buddy.
The budget is your predetermined list that has how much you can afford to spend in cash without whipping out the Visa or the MasterCard.
Now, if you do end up using credit instead of cash, set your budget on your credit card too. Come up with a set amount that you can pay off in 2 or 3 months max.
The buddy's job is to come along with you and keep you honest. She's the girlfriend who's going to say, okay, you've hit your limit. That $500, it's it. You've spent it.
One of the biggest problems with holiday debt, Khalfani says people often get into debt buying gifts for themselves, not just for others.
This is where you see something, all of a sudden you're hot and heavy for it, you haven't budgeted for it, you didn't plan to buy it.
So how do you resist that urge to splurge? Khalfani's holiday debt tip? Try the 24-hour rule.
But instead of just snatching up that item and going to pay for it, perhaps with a credit card, you're going to simply walk away from it. You're going to give yourself 24 hours to cool off.
Whatever you do, if you end up spending more than you can afford and you spend that money on your credit card, when the bill comes in, if you can't make the minimum payment, call your credit card company and work out a payment plan. And if you can, try to negotiate a lower interest rate. Tracy Davidson, NBC10 News.
Well, every year at this time, NBC10 showcases homes and neighborhoods that light up the holidays.
And tonight, NBC10's Lori Wilson shows us one Philadelphia community that is lighting up the holidays in a big way.
We are lighting up the holidays tonight in the Mayfair Tacony section of Philadelphia, and I'm excited to be here at the home of Mark Stabler and about 5 of his neighbors here on Greeby Street. We have 5 homes that have come together to create a beautiful light display. As you can see, we have a little bit of everything. We've got, of course, snowflakes, we've got trains, we have Santa Claus, we have reindeer. Mark, you have done it once again.
Yes, second year in a row. Neighbors got all their lights out. I put it up for them. And we're getting bigger and bigger every year. So hopefully we can keep this going.
Are you guys having fun? Yeah! Everybody came out tonight. You know what? We want to thank you for inviting us to your home and actually give you a little something courtesy of Hatfield Quality Meats, a lovely spiral sliced ham. You guys can have that for maybe Christmas dinner. What do you think?
I don't know. Will it feed 6 houses?
Well, it's a good start anyway, right? Because we also have other ham and meat in here for you. Of course, Hatfield Quality Meats in there. And I hope it just makes your holidays a little bit brighter. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for being here. Christmas to all a good night. Look at that. I didn't even have to cue him. I'm Lori Wilson for NBC10 News.
And of course, we want to see more of your holiday decorations. You can send us your best and brightest pictures of your holiday displays at NBCPhiladelphia.com, and we could feature your house right here on NBC10.
All right, now speaking of showcasing new homes, we've got quite a new home here to showcase, don't we?
How about this? Isn't this nice?
Oh, it's spectacular.
All right, let's share it with some of you. This is our new studio because we are now in high definition for all of you who have high definition television sets. Let's show you one of the first parts that you haven't seen yet. This is actually the interview set.
This is going to be great for all of our in-depth interviews and when Visa Kahema or all that and more, live at issue, just a perfect location to do our interviews. And of course to serve the viewer by bringing them just the best information we can and just the most beautiful setting we can do.
Absolutely.
There, right?
Let's go back and look at this section. This is behind the news set, and you can see the depth of the studio as we go all the way back into here and show you some scenes that you don't normally see.
Spectacular.
This fake stone wall here.
Don't
really,
say
really
it's
a
fake.
It
touch.
looks anyway,
I don't know. If you have HD, it might look fake, right?
Here's behind the set, a part of it that you don't normally see. The monitors, even the teleprompter right there for us to read the stories off the teleprompter.
Not to mention our feet and our legs, right?
That you'll be able to see. Let's turn the camera around this way and go all the way over in the corner right now.
That area still looks pretty familiar. You can't improve on perfection. There's Glenn and Dave over there in the Earthwatch Weather Center. Hey, guys.
All right, Glenn.
Well, actually, we do have a change here. We have a whole new computer system, high-def graphics, going to be able to do some really spectacular things. We're just starting off with it tonight. We've got some serious weather to talk about as well. Let's go outside right now, and you'll see that it's kind of cloudy and gloomy, but at least the visibility is decent out there. And now we'll look at the radar, and this is what is known as level 2 radar. We'll explain more about that in the days to come, but not much around Philadelphia or points to the north and west, a lot down in Delaware and just offshore, even some lightning strikes that we show on this computer system as well. Now, if, for example, we had a lot of heavy stuff right around Philadelphia, look how close we can get into. You can see Center City, the Delaware River right out here. We can actually show the radar down that close right into your neighborhood. And the high temperature today, 65 degrees. The low 48 is the current reading, not too far away from the record high of 71. Right now, it's in the 40s in most of the area after being in the 60s, so it's dropped quite a bit. Continues to drop north and west, down to 32 in the Poconos, and the Poconos are really going to get slammed over the next couple of days. This is the front that moved through during the day today. It's become stationary now, and that allows this storm to ride right up the front, and that is going to cause some problems here as we go into tomorrow and tomorrow night. The high resolution model once again shows a lot of rain, steady rain pretty much during the day. And for tonight, we're going to be seeing more rain. It's going to be windy and wet. The heaviest rain coming toward daybreak, 42 for the low in the city, 38 north and west. During the day tomorrow, some of that rain will be heavy, be much colder than today. Highs only in the low 40s in most of the area, even colder north and west, warmer south and east. Then on Friday, it ends as early snow, especially to the north and west, Reading, Allentown, up in those areas. Could accumulate a little bit too. That's at the tail end of the storm. Then it dries out. We have 36 degrees, a cold day Saturday. We warm up Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday before the next weather system affects us on Wednesday. And the 10-day trend shows a big drop by next Wednesday, but then above normal temperatures as we go into the following weekend. Bye.
All right, thank you, Hurricane Vi Sikahema here. LeBron James and the Cavaliers invade the Waikolia Center. Can the 76ers slow down King James and company? Sports up next. The 76ers with a big test tonight against LeBron James and the Cavaliers visiting town. And, hey, the best running back in football, Brian Westbrook, in house to see maybe the best player in basketball, King James, and the Cavs star does not disappoint. James blowing right by Andre Iguodala for the lay-in and the foul. Iguodala keeping the Sixers close, gets this circus shot to go. Iggy, season high 27 for him, and Jimmy Rollins, he likes it. But too much James in this one. He scores 29 for the Cavs as the Sixers lose 101 to 93. The Eagles return to work tomorrow, but today, two birds spent their day off spreading a little holiday cheer. Brian Westbrook and Brian Dawkins making a special visit to Children's Hospital today, and both players agree they get as much out of the visit as the kids do.
You know, I've been injured and I've been worried about my knee and my ankle, but, you know, these kids are fighting for their lives, and they are still smiling, they still are happy, and it kind of makes you reflect on your situation and say it could be a lot worse. Just to be able to come in and share a laugh with them and share a gift with them is a heartwarming thing.
All right, those guys visiting hospitals and kids. Terrell Owens and the Cowboys could be home for the holidays. Well, Dallas is fighting for a playoff spot, but T.O. is still in a festive mood. Don't believe me? Well, just ask T.O., the red-nosed receiver.
Terrell, I know you're happy. How would you describe the mood of the team this week as you get ready for the Giants?
Jolly.
The whole team?
Jolly. Ready to rock and roll.
Cowboys and the Giants this weekend could be interesting. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
And now the Tonight Show with Jay Leno is coming up next. I'm Tim Lake.
I'm Renee Chenault-Fattah. Good night.
Coming up tomorrow on NBC10 News Today, cross-legged on the floor, I found myself reading to a class of preschoolers, and I couldn't have had a better time.
Make sure you see Terry the teacher in tomorrow's edition of Take This Job.
More rain is on the way. When will it end? I'll have the latest from Earthwatch. John Ogden with the latest on the traffic scene. Tomorrow, before today.
This portion of NBC10 News, sponsored by your Jeep dealer. NBC10 News Sports, sponsored by Infiniti, designers of the most dynamic automobiles in the world.